Hey everyone, it's Laura here. Hope everybody's good. Not as freezing as I am because it is freezing here. I am back today. This is the first part that I'll be doing on Chris Watts' transcript. I was going to do a video after the Dr. Phil episode, but I felt like there was maybe some misinformation, so I wanted to wait till the actual thing came out itself. I've listened to the confession, I've read through the transcript. I think there's quite a bit of BS in there. I don't think he's being completely honest. I want to actually have a read through it and give my opinion and stuff like that. But this is going to be the first part, so I'm only going to do a little bit today. But I think one of the reasons I do think they went out there was to do a behavioural science analysis on Chris Watts as part of the FBI, because they did state that they found him quite unique, and it's true. I've read into a lot of stories where someone's killed their family, and I can honestly say I've never heard anything like this in my life. It is an odd one, so I'm not surprised they would want to analyse them, and I would love to see what the FBI come up with in that. That would be great. But I think there is some truth to what happened that night. I think there is a few things that he's lying about, but we'll just have to wait and see. It depends what everybody else thinks, but I'm going to start reading it out. So, I'm not going to read out the first big long part. I'm just going to start where they start interviewing him properly. First of all, they asked him about Trent Boult and Amanda McMahon. I never believed these two people when they came out about this. I think they were sick individuals who wanted their 5 minutes of fame off a terrible, terrible tragedy, and I think that it's disgusting. He's denied it, and I do think he's telling the truth on that one. I really don't. It was obvious about Trent Boult. Amanda McMahon put on quite a good act, mind. But with regards to Chris Watts' relationship with Nicole Kessinger, so we're going to start there. S.A. Coder asked Watts if he felt comfortable telling us if he had affairs with other people, and Watts said yes. Watts told us he only had an affair with Nicole Kessinger. S.A. Coder asked Watts if he ever had any one-night stands, and he said no. Around June 1st, 2018, he met Kessinger at work at Anadarko. He had a gas meter that didn't work and took it to Kessinger to have it fixed. He and Kessinger ran into each other a few times in the office and would chat about work. Around the fourth time meeting Kessinger, he mentioned we moved to North Carolina. Kessinger asked him what he meant by we, and he took out his cell phone and showed her a picture of his daughters. Kessinger also saw a picture of Shanann on his lock screen. Kessinger knew he was married and had children. Now, we know in Kessinger's interview, she denied knowing that he was still married and that they were separated, so we now know that she's just a big fat hairy liar. Kessinger knew he was married with children. He knew Kessinger lied and said she didn't know he was married. Kessinger was trying to save face. Yeah, okay. He has not talked to Kessinger since his arrest. He hopes Kessinger has written to him in a different alias that he does not recognise, and be curious to know if he ever did. He didn't wear a wedding ring at work because it was getting sized since it was too big because he lost all that weight. Kessinger texted him one day. He was working in the field and their text messages to each other continued. One day he and Kessinger's text messages kind of went a different level. Kessinger talked about them meeting up after he returned from the trip with Shanann to San Diego. He went to San Diego in June. After he returned home from San Diego, he and Kessinger met in a park in Thornton, Colorado. He and Kessinger continued to see each other almost the entire month of July 2018. He initially thought his relationship with Kessinger was just flirting at work. He wished he would have worked more out in the field, so he never got close to Kessinger. When he became a field coordinator, he was forced to spend more time in the office and he would constantly run into Kessinger. He wished he could talk to Kessinger one last time to apologise to her about what happened and what she went through. Oh yeah, because she went through a terrible ordeal. He didn't know if Kessinger had received counselling or if she had to leave the state due to the publicity of the case. Pretty sure she had to leave the state, change her identity. Kessinger refused to speak to Watts' attorneys. He hoped Kessinger found normalcy because Anadarko was her dream job. Boo-hoo. With regard to if he loved Kessinger, he felt like it was true. Yeah, now we know you did love her. You've seen all the letters. He felt like Kessinger pursued him, which was unusual. Now that's funny. She pursued him. I can imagine that actually being true, and I still can't wrap my head around why she googled Shanann Watts in September 2017 and she didn't actually start talking to Chris in June 2018. So I just find that very strange. He felt more in control when he was with Kessinger because she would ask his opinion on things and what he wanted to do. He felt like he could be himself around Kessinger, unlike Shanann. The first time he and Kessinger went out, they went to a movie at the Orchard off of 144th. He asked Kessinger if she wanted to see a movie and she agreed. The movie was sold out and they walked around for 2 hours and talked. Kessinger wanted to go to a Shelby car museum in Boulder, which he enjoyed. It's funny that she liked the same things he did. He and Kessinger went to a drag race at Bandimere Speedway, which reminded him of his childhood. He and Kessinger went camping in the Sand Dunes National Park, which he always wanted to do. Every time he opened up his phone, he saw pictures of his wife and children and questioned what he was doing with Kessinger. I'm sure he did. He has pictures of his wife and daughters in his prison cell and he talks to them every morning and every night. I don't think he even should be entitled to have pictures of his daughters and wife. I really don't. He has a book in his cell which was the same book he used to read to Celeste. He reads the book to his daughters along with some scripture every night. He wished it never happened and he never had a blinder over his eyes. He could have seen his eyes and could have seen what was going on. He stayed at Kessinger's house almost every night. His wife and daughters were in North Carolina, and considering Kessinger said she liked her space, they barely saw each other. You know, liar. Yeah. He felt like he didn't have time to think about his marriage when Shanann and the girls were out of state. He went home after work to work out, eat dinner, and then would go over to Kessinger's house. He slept over at Kessinger's house almost the entire month of July. Being away from home allowed him not to think about being a father and a husband, funny that, because he wasn't surrounded by reminders of his family and he was probably enjoying the freedom. He wished he had met Kessinger. He wished he had met Kessinger at work and kept it as a work relationship only. It feels like a roller coaster ride that it just kept punching a ticket on and never could get off. Kessinger wanted to have sex all the time. He never had to worry about saying something stupid around Kessinger and never had to plan what he was going to say when he was with her. Kessinger asked him if he ever strayed away before and he said no. He told Kessinger that it felt like she had a leash on him and was able to pull him away from Shanann. Yeah, because he was easily manipulated. So obvious. With regard to Watts' relationship with Shanann, Watts explained his first date with Shanann. Shanann said he wasn't her type. Watts said he always had to pursue Shanann and always helped organise her medications inside her pillbox. Watts said he went to Shanann's colonoscopy a few months after they got together and she told him she knew he was a keeper after he went. His mother was always hesitant about Shanann, yes, we know that. He was the baby of the family and never had a girlfriend in high school. He moved out of the house after high school graduation at 18 and never came back. His sister always moved back and forth with their parents. He met Shanann when he was 25 years old. The longest relationship he had before Shanann was approximately 6 months, so he wasn't much of a relationship person. He was always quiet. He is more reserved and goes with the flow. Shanann made most of the decisions in the house. With regards to what happened to Shanann, Bella and Celeste, Shanann arrived home around 2 AM and he felt her getting to bed. He felt Shanann was stirring around in bed and he felt like she knew he was having an affair. He used his credit card when he went out to dinner with Kessinger because he didn't have another Anadarko gift card and couldn't ask Kessinger to pay. Shanann started rubbing her hand on his leg or chest and they had sexual intercourse. Watt said he and Shanann had sexual intercourse at approximately 2:30 AM. He and Shanann had sex in the missionary position. He felt like sex with Shanann was more of a test, like testing the waters. He felt strange when he had sex with Shanann and questioned who he was and who he had become. Having sex with Shanann may have been a trigger point, or like you hit the push button and the bomb just blows up. He and Shanann fell asleep after they had sex. When he woke up that morning, he got ready for work and then returned to the bed and woke Shanann up. Shanann was sleeping face down and rolled over onto her back to talk to him. He felt like he had to say something to Shanann. He straddled Shanann on the bed around her waist. Now this bit I find really hard to believe. You get up, you put your clothes on, you then decide you want to wake your wife up because you want to have an emotional conversation, but you get on the bed and straddle her to have it. Now, I don't know, this is just me, but if I was about to do the exact same thing, I would sit at the edge of the bed like a normal person and sit and have that conversation. I wouldn't sit and straddle especially my pregnant wife, because I'm sure she would say, yeah, get the hell off me. This whole, I think she probably thought we're going to have sex again. I don't believe this. I don't understand this bit. And I don't believe it. I just don't understand why you would straddle somebody to have a conversation with them. It makes no sense. He believes Shanann initially thought he wanted to have sex with her again since he was on top of her. Yeah, fully dressed, Shanann told him he was hurting the baby. Yeah, and he never will. He and Shanann talked for approximately 15 to 20 minutes with him straddling on top of her. He was concerned Shanann knew about his affair and that she and the kids wouldn't be there when he got home from work that evening. He felt like either Shanann would take the kids away from the house or would lock him out when he tried to come home after work. He asked Shanann if they could cancel their couple's trip to Aspen. He asked her if they could move to Brighton, Colorado so they could get away from their house. He felt like going out on Saturday evening with Kessinger and using their credit card was going to be the last straw. Shanann told him she knew there was someone else and cried. He denied having an affair. I just felt guilty, more guilty than ever before. He told Shanann he didn't think their marriage was going to work. He did not feel like he and Shanann were compatible with each other anymore. Anything that's new referring to his relationship with Kessinger always feels better than the old. He always felt nervous around Shanann and never felt like he could be himself. Shanann asked him, what about last night? Shanann hadn't taken off her bra and didn't wash her face before she got into bed, so she had mascara running down her face. He and Shanann's conversation lasted less than 30 minutes. Shanann told him to get off her and that she knew he had someone else. He couldn't bring himself to tell her about Kessinger. He told Shanann he didn't love her, and Shanann said, you're never going to see the kids again. You're never going to see them again, get off me, don't hurt the baby. He immediately put both of his hands around Shanann's neck and strangled her. Every time I think about it, I'm just like, I don't know. I was going to do that, referring to strangling Shanann before I got on top of her. See that to me. Now, I spoke about the whole crime of passion thing in my second video. But that was before I actually read this. I can't see it being a crime of passion, especially after what you do afterwards. You drive your kids 45 minutes to an oil field and then do what you do. I think, considering his IQ, it was quite sloppy. But I think there was a plan in there was something in his mind, and to begin with, before this happened. Whether or not it involved the kids, I don't know. But something in his head was already thinking this, I think. And he's even just said to himself, especially before he got on top of her, so he got on top of her and done it. That's the way I see it. And then we go, like, the whole, everything that happened that morning, I don't know, like, I tried to go back in my head. I'm just like, this is as bad as me with A. I don't want to do this, but I did it. Everything just kind of like, I just felt like it was, I don't even want to say it felt like I had to. It just felt like there was already something in my mind that was implicated and I was going to do it. And when I woke up that morning, it was going to happen and I had no control over it. See, again, you already knew it was going to happen. At the sentencing, he heard the prosecutor said it takes 2 to 4 minutes to strangle someone to death. So why couldn't I just let go? He doesn't want to know what Shanann saw when she looked back at him while he was strangling her. What's denied covering Shanann's head or face with anything while he strangled her? Shanann never fought back or screamed, which I find really hard to, Shanann was a fighter. She was Italian, she was feisty. I can't imagine her not fighting back. I know she was tired, pregnant, unwell, heartbroken, but you would do anything to protect your life and your baby's life, I would imagine. He does not know why Shanann didn't fight back. I think you do. He believes Shanann may have been praying. He read the Bible that said, "Forgive these people for they do not know what they do." And maybe Shanann was saying that in her head at the time. When he was asked to take off his shirt so we could check for defence wounds, he knew immediately he didn't have any because Shanann never fought back. Yes, he knew that. He was clever enough for that. He does not recall Shanann's arms being pinned down by his knees, really. I feel like in the back of my head that was going to happen. And just like at the end of the conversation, it was just like, that's what happened. I just wished I could have let go. Time seemed to stand still and he saw his life disappearing before his eyes, but he couldn't let go. It was like picturing someone around you holding your hands, holding you and keeping you from letting you go. I wonder whose hands that was. Enki's? Whether physically or, emotionally. Or was it the Invisible Man? He felt like he was in a rage and snaps. I think you were just in a rage. His attorney mentioned the crime of strangulation was passionate, and he does understand how that could be passionate. That morning, it was a new type of fight. There was emotion at first, but it was more anger than anything else because there was no love there. I think it was more anger from me and more like desperation from her. Shanann knew something wasn't right and wanted to fix it. After Shanann was gone, he didn't know what was happening and felt like it was a traumatic event. He was shaking and didn't know what happened. He didn't know what to do and didn't know what he had done. He wasn't in the right state of mind and wasn't in control of his thoughts or actions. People asked him why he didn't call 911, but no one knows what they would do in the same situation. After Shanann was dead, Bella walked into their bedroom holding her blanket and asked what was wrong with Mummy. He believed Bella may have woken up by the noise. He told Bella Mummy didn't feel well. Bella thought Shanann was sleeping. He wrapped Shanann face down in the bedsheet, which was recovered at the oil site. Shanann was still wearing her shirt, bra and underwear. she had on when she got into bed. He tried to carry Shanann down the stairs and lost his grip and ended up having to pull her down the stairs. Bella watched him drag Shanann down the stairs and began to cry and said, "What's wrong with mummy?" I think that is absolutely horrendous. How can you let your daughter watch that? It's just, it's an evil of all evil. He told Bella again that her mummy didn't feel good. Yeah, he was plenty compos mentis to tell his daughter exactly what was wrong with mummy, wasn't he? Yet he wasn't in his right mind. Bella is a smart girl and knew what was going on. Yes, she was a smart girl. Bella never touched Shanann or tried to wake her up. Bella followed him down the stairs. He backed his pickup into the driveway and put Shanann into the back seat of his truck on the floorboards. When he returned inside, Celeste was in her room and was starting to get out of her bed. He believed the noise Shanann's feet hitting the stairs as he dragged her down the stairs may have woken up Celeste. Bella and Celeste were light sleepers. Bella and Celeste were walking around the house. Every time he sees pictures of Bella and Celeste, he doesn't understand how it all could have happened. Being a dad was the best part of his life, and he took it all away. He felt like someone else had control over him that day, and he wasn't able to fight back. When the prosecutor said Bella bit her tongue repeatedly, he wanted to bang his head against the wall, because we all knew he was reliving it. At that point, he put his lunchbox in the truck and then put both Bella and Celeste in the back of the truck. Now, he was able to go back and forth to get, his lunch and stuff and get stuff and, organise that. It was plenty compos mentis for certain things, but not for others. About the girls being in the truck, and I'd said as well, there was at one point where I thought there was a possibility they could already be gone before Shanann got home, but I'd changed my mind on that. But I want to give a big shout out to Armchair Detective, because his shadows video was definitely convinced me. Back when he released it, I could not believe it when I saw the shadows. It was obvious. I didn't want to believe it because the hiding is horrendous. I can't. It's just terrible. But Armchair Detective gets a lot of flack for these videos. I think he's great. I think he's honest. He just says what he wants to say. And, people give him a lot of flack, but now everybody's coming back to him going, hey, well done, well done. But I do genuinely want to say well done. I think he did a great job on that one. And it definitely confirmed that he is telling the truth on that. So, yeah, well done. So where was that? Right, so you get his lunchbox with the back seat. Shanann was lying on the floorboard. Bella asked, is mummy okay? He told Bella and Celeste that mummy would be fine. Bella and Celeste each had a blanket with them, and Celeste had a stuffed animal barking dog. He put a gas can in the back of his truck, and he felt like he could get rid of himself at the same time. I don't really believe that bit. He didn't feel like he deserved to live or be on this earth after what had happened. After everything happened, he considered taking his own life, but instead he decided to take his children's. He did not commit suicide because he felt like if he did it out at the oil site, he may have ended up hurting more people than just himself, because he's always so concerned about other people and what they think, and always apologising to them. He knew there were other people in the area and didn't want something to catch up on fire or blow up. He does not own any weapons, but nothing seemed right that morning. As he drove to the oil site with Shanann, Bella and Celeste, he was nervous, shaking, and didn't know what was going to happen. He knew at that moment that his life was completely changed. He tried to picture the long ride out to the oil site and wondered if he could have saved his girls' lives. Well, of course you could have. It was 45 minutes. You had 45 minutes. He wasn't thinking during the entire drive. I don't believe it either. He has read books about how dads could never hurt their children, and he has wondered, what was I even a dad at one point? I don't know. He had wanted his whole life to be a dad, and nothing made sense, including the oil tanks. During the ride, the girls were dozing on and off, held each other and laid in each other's laps. During the ride, Bella says, "Daddy, it smells." When he got to the oil site, he took Shanann out of the back of the truck and pulled her over and laid her on the ground near where she was ultimately buried. Bella and Celeste were still sitting in the back of the truck, and as he removed Shanann, Bella and Celeste asked him, "What are you doing with Mummy?" He doesn't recall what he told them. He returned to the truck, and Cece was first. Celeste had the blue Yankees blanket, and he put it over her head. He strangled Celeste in the back seat. He put his hand over Celeste's mouth and nose over the blanket, and his other hand around the front of Celeste's neck. Bella was seated right beside Celeste as he strangled her, but Bella didn't say anything. He had no idea how long it took to strangle and smother Celeste because he had no concept of time. With regard to what he was thinking at the time, I wasn't. If I was thinking, this wouldn't have happened, or any partial hint of what I feel for those girls, sounds like his dad there, and what I feel for my wife, then none of this would have happened, so I wasn't thinking. After Celeste died, he took Celeste out to the truck, walked her up to the oil tank, opened the hatch and dropped her inside feet first. He believed it was tight when he put Celeste through the hatch on the oil tank. He did not have to hit Celeste into the tank, but may have had to manipulate her to get her inside. He closed the hatch on the oil tank and returned to his truck. When he got in the truck, Bella asked him what happened to Cece. Bella asked him in her soft voice, "Is the same thing going to happen to me as Cece?" He is not sure if he told Bella yes, like a horrible person. I wouldn't put past him. He then put the same Yankees blanket over Bella's head and did the same thing. Bella said, "Daddy, no," and it was the last words she spoke. He put his hand over Bella's nose and mouth over the blanket and his other hand around the front of her neck. With regard to Bella's injuries in her mouth, Bella's head was twisting back and forth under the blanket while he smothered her. He could hear Bella grunt as she tried to breathe. He noticed a couple of spots over Bella's eyes when he picked her up. He walked Bella up to the separate oil tank, opened the hatch and dropped her feet inside feet first. Bella seemed harder to get into the tank than Celeste, but he just had to manipulate her to get her inside. He does not know why he put Bella and Celeste in separate tanks. Bella and Celeste were not alive when they were put into the tanks. After he put Bella into the oil tank, he returned to where Shanann was located and started to clear away some of the weeds. The rake broke when he was removing the weeds and he left part of it out at the field. He does not believe he ever thought about going back for the broken part of the rake. He dug the hole with his shovel and put Shanann inside. Shanann was not bleeding or cut when he buried her. He recalled Shanann's eyes were bloodshot. Shanann had not partially given birth when he buried her in the ground. Shanann was wearing her shirt and blue-coloured underwear. Every time he closes his eyes, he hears Bella say, "Daddy, no." And I hope he does, and I hope he hears it for the rest of his life. He hears it every day. Just thinking about the oil tanks makes him want to throw up. Frank Rusek said at the sentencing that he was trying to separate everyone, and that was not true. He felt like someone else was in control of what he was doing. He did not consider the fact that it may have helped with detection by putting the girls in separate tanks. He didn't consider putting the girls with Shanann because everything happened so fast and I had no time to really have thought that was my own. He didn't purposely try to separate any of them. With regards to the trash bags found at the oil tank site, he didn't want the girls looking at Shanann in the back seat of his truck, so he placed a trash bag on the feet and other around her head. The girls didn't know what was going on. After the murders, the Yankee blankets were still in the back of the truck and he threw them away. He stopped by a construction dumpster in his neighbourhood and threw away his clothes and Yankee blanket on his way home from work on Monday. Well, that's true or not, I don't know, but they have been put somewhere, that's for sure. He keeps extra boots and clothes in the back of his truck. He felt like taking Celeste and Bella's lives was caused by an anger with Shanann. I take out on your children, and that's good. That he took out on everyone in front of him that morning. He had never been angry before, and this was like the epitome of being angry. He had a rage and lost his mind. I find that whole bit just so disturbing. And then the first night I read it, when it came out, I actually had my daughter sleeping next to me in bed because it was just horrible. The one thing I want to say before I go, the one good thing to actually come out of this is that Shanann's name has finally been cleared. That is by far the most important thing. I have seen so many horrible things said about Shanann online, from having Munchausen by proxy, saying she's a horrible mother, she was a horrible wife, she was emotionally abusive. I mean, Shanann was strong-willed, she was strong-headed, she was Italian. She took control of everything, so what? There's no excuse. You know, and she deserves her memory not to be tarnished. She can't defend herself. And what disgusted me more was that online it was mostly women. I mean, what happened to women sticking together? It just does not exist anymore. It's shocking, and I'm glad for the sake of the Ruseks that alone should bring them a good amount of closure, knowing that their daughter's name is now cleared and people can stop bashing her. Because it's not fair, you know, it's horrible. But anyway, that's my first part for just now. I will do my second part. I just have to do my videos slightly shorter just now, unfortunately, because I have terrible Wi-Fi. You get what you pay for, and unfortunately that's what I can afford. So these videos take forever to upload. So this is the first part. I will get part 2 done. I may have to do it in maybe 3 parts, I'm not sure, we'll see. But yeah, so thanks to everybody again who's watched my videos and to likes and subscribes. I really appreciate it. The comments have been so nice. I just really appreciate it, and I hope to go further and hope everything goes great, and I shall see you guys all soon for part 2. Okay, bye.